Hello, hello, hello.
Hi,
Welcome to Tuesday Talks with the Conways.
I'm Courtney.
And I'm Chris. Glad to have you all here this week.
Yes.
So we'll give everyone a chance to join and sign on and say hello. So feel free to comment where you're watching from, and if you're new here, I know we got lots of regulars that join us every week, so we're happy to have our regulars, but love our new people. But just want to remind everyone that the podcasts are recorded, so they'll be available if you want to stream the video on YouTube. So we're streamed live on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, but the recordings live on YouTube.
Mhm.
So if you want to catch a previous one, but also you can do an audio version of the podcast on Apple Podcast and Spotify Podcasts. Thank you so much, Liddell. Yes, we're trying. We've added in some strength training a little bit, and while the scale it isn't technically moving, we do feel and see some changes, which is really, really good. But thank you so much. Got
Lorena.
Cam Connor from Holden Beach. Shelly, um, your transformation dress was amazing. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, that transformation dress that she posted. The one on the left was at 50 pounds down, and the one on the right was at 100 pounds down. Same dress, and it was really, really amazing. So it wasn't even the beginning of the journey, so it was already through the process. And sometimes your transformation photos don't have to be from the beginning;
Mm.
they can be other photos of your journey too. So it's really good to point out. We've got Sherry from Florida, and Naomi from Kentucky, and Joanne from Chicago, the Windy City. Went there last year. It was a lot of fun for the first time. And we got Radina from Kansas. So glad to have a lot of our regulars, and hopefully we'll have some new people too. So we give it a few more minutes, but we'll go ahead and get started very, very soon. But I hope you all are having a really good week. And Kathy from Nebraska. So glad to have you all here.
Yes.
All right. Did you want to talk and kind of introduce our topic while we waited for a few more people to join?
Yes. Tonight we're talking about trusting the process because this health journey is a lifelong process. It's not just a one and done, it's a lifelong process. And it's something that you really need to trust and just believe you're going to see results because you're not going to see them from the very beginning.
Hmm.
And there's even going to be times, even years within your journey, that you're not going to see any changes. You're not going to see changes on the scale. And so it's all about trusting the process and just continuing to go.
Absolutely. So we've got lots of really good points to talk about on this topic. Feel free to make comments, ask questions, even if they're not related. We have somebody from the UK that's on holiday in Phoenix. Welcome. We're so glad to have you
Hi.
here as well. And we've got Julie from Indianapolis. So really, really happy to have you. Kathy, I think we already said hello, Kathy. I'm trying to make sure we don't miss anybody. So thank you so much for joining in, and I hope you have fun in Phoenix. It's going to be nice and toasty and dry, and imagine there's lots of fun things
Yeah.
to do in Phoenix. But yes, so we're going to be talking about trusting the process, and this is something that we have to continuously remind
Mhm.
ourselves and remind each other too. Even in kind of our current walk, as I mentioned earlier, that we're making a transition a little bit to weight training. So we're still doing cardio, but the weight training hits a little different sometimes, and it doesn't usually make an immediate um, change in the scale. But there are some other noticeable differences that we're having to trust on, and we're having
Mhm.
to make sure we're trusting the process, and we don't get discouraged either. So that's another thing we want you to take away from this is don't get discouraged and keep going.
Yes, absolutely. So the first thing we want to talk about is starting small in your journey because if you're just starting out, like if you're new, it's going to be really hard to change a lot of things at once.
Hmm.
It can be overwhelming, it can be stressful. And then sometimes, like I said, you're not going to see progress instantly. It's going to take time. And so starting off small, making those small changes. Like I've heard if you just cut your calories down by like 200 a day, which is not that many, like that's basically like a protein bar.
Hmm.
But if you just cut it down, or like some people's coffees, but if you cut it down by just 200 calories a day, and then the next week cut it down a little bit more, making these small changes over
Mm,
time and just making a little bit more change each week,
mhm,
you're gonna see progress over time, but you have to trust that process.
mm,
And it's really hard sometimes to trust that process because we live in a microwave generation
mhm,
where you
instant
want everything
satisfaction.
instantly.
Mhm,
And so you want to make all of these changes at once and see the changes in your body and your weight instantly. And that's just not, sadly, that's not how health journeys go.
mhm,
It's a lifelong process and it's something that you need to trust in. But starting off small really does help. So you're not overwhelmed. But when you start off small, you still have to trust that process. You have to trust that, okay, I'm just doing a little bit now. Next week, I'm going to add a little bit more. And this is a process.
mhm,
And it's something that you need to trust in because you will be seeing changes eventually.
mhm. We've got Julie from joining us from Quebec,
Hello.
our friendly neighbors to the north. Glad to have you here. But on the same lines there, that we didn't gain all this weight overnight. We're not going to lose it. Granted, unfortunately, it is a little easier to gain and a little faster to gain than it is to lose. But you didn't gain it all
Mhm.
overnight. We're not going to be able to lose it all overnight either. So it's going to be a process, something that you'll have to trust and keep going regardless of whether you're seeing any immediate changes. And so you'll want to look for some of the other things, like us right now. The scale's not moving, but we are noticing some other things. The way our clothes are fitting, my face. Courtney mentioned is looking a little bit slimmer.
Mhm.
I don't see it just yet, but it's worth it to keep pushing
Mhm.
forward.
Yes, absolutely. And with that, weight loss is not linear.
Hmm.
You're going to see fluctuations. You're going to gain weight. You're going to lose weight. You're going to plateau at some point and
Hmm.
just not see any movement. Like weight loss is not just a decline. It's a roller coaster and it can be hard and trusting that process. Like we've mentioned before that I'm a daily weigher and I do that so I can trust the process
Hmm.
because if I get on the scale today and I'm up from what I was last week, I'm going to be discouraged. But if I get on the scale today and saw that, I'm up, I'm bloated a little bit today, but last Friday, I was down like 3 or 4 pounds. Like, I'm going to know I just need to trust the process. I'm just bloated a little bit.
Hmm.
And it's all like I know we're going to be using the sentence trust the process like a million
A
times,
lot.
but it's all about trusting the process. So just remember when you are fluctuating, whether you're a daily weigher, monthly weigher, everything,
Hmm.
weight loss is not linear. It's going to go up and down, and you really just have to trust the process. Like with me, when I look at my chart this month of my weights, it is up and down. But like my Sunday column, every week is down. My Monday column, every week is down. And so, like, I know I'm making some sort of progress every day of the week, whether or not it feels that way in the moment.
Yeah, because our kind of pattern is we do really, really well, and we do well almost every single day. But on the weekends, for example, we're not home or at a place where we can access the bathroom very often, so we don't drink as much water. So we have a tendency to carry a little bit of water weight over the weekend. So our weight on Monday morning is going to be a little higher
Mhm.
because we're retaining water a little bit, and then as we weigh Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we get that water weight off to where usually on Friday and Saturday, our scale does go down
Mhm.
lower. But just understanding your body, understanding how your body reacts to certain foods, how it reacts to your hydration, your
Mhm.
cycles, hormones, medicine that goes on there. Understanding your body can help you understand those fluctuations and be more comfortable with where you're at.
Yes, but with the weight loss, like we said, it is very normal for it to not be linear. It's going to fluctuate, but you have to stay consistent when it is fluctuating. When you're up, when you're bloated, you have to stay consistent and trust that process because eventually it will come down.
Hmm.
You just have to trust yourself, trust what you're doing, trust the process,
Trust your
be
body.
consistent.
Hmm.
Because even with a plateau, if you are consistent, you're going to eventually lose some weight. So consistency, 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 and trust the
Hmm.
process, and it will. The waiting game is so frustrating. Like we know firsthand, but trust the process, and with consistency, it will come down.
Consistency is probably the biggest
Mhm.
key. Consistency in your tracking, consistency in staying on plan, consistency with your movement is definitely going to be the biggest key.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, and Linda says the same fluctuations happen to her. Understanding them will help your
Mhm.
mindset and help you to keep you from getting too discouraged and keep pushing forward.
Yes, and like because I do weigh daily, I know which day of the week I'm typically lowest. So the fact I'm up to date is not stressing me out very much because I know Wednesday or Thursday, my weight normally takes a big drop. And so I just know that's how my week works. And it doesn't freak me out.
Somebody on Instagram mentioned that she took a page out of Courtney's book and bought some different water bottles to help motivate her to
It
do.
works.
Yes, Courtney has tons of water bottles, tons of cups, and I don't mind feeding into the obsession because one, they're cool. Two, I can use them. And then if it does help motivate her to get
It
more
really
water
does.
in, that's really ultimately really good. Hydration is really, really important to your
Mhm.
health journey.
Yes, absolutely. So another thing is stay on plan when it comes to your healthy plan. Um, sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Change if you need to, but the plans are there for a reason and trust the plan. The plans are made to work for you. If it's not working, you can switch up your plan. But make sure you give it time. Like, don't get on it for like a week and be like, oh, this is not working, and then switch it up every week. Make
Hmm.
sure you're consistent for a while, at least a month.
Yeah.
And if it's not, sorry, I'm using my hands extra tonight. But if it's not working, then switch it up. But like we said, the plans are there to help you to succeed. So trust the plan. And that is all part of trusting the process is trusting the plan.
And in that trusting the plan, follow the bite system. If you've
If
got
you if you have the bite
Yeah,
system.
if you're on a bite system, if you've got weekly, if you got activity bites or activity calories, make sure you use them and make sure you're eating enough. But the plans are designed that no matter whether it's calorie based or bite based, to leave you in a deficit so that you can be at a loss. So follow the plan, use the bites or the calories that you have allotted to you.
Mhm.
Make sure you're eating enough.
Yes, because I know it doesn't make sense, but if you're not eating enough, you're going to store fat and I mean, you might lose at first and you might lose quickly, but
Hmm.
eventually you will store fat and it's just going to, you're going to plateau and you're not going to be able to lose. So make sure you're eating enough. Those activity bites, those activity calories, those weeklies. If you're not using your activity bites, that's not that big of a deal to me. I don't use all of my activity bites. I get a lot. I am constantly moving. Some days I get literally, I'm not even over exaggerating, 30 activity bites.
Hmm.
But I am a huge, what's the word, proponent?
Hmm.
Proponent
I think
of
supporter
using
or
supporter
yeah.
of using your weeklies. Your weeklies are there for a reason. Use them as you wish. You can split them up throughout the week. You can use them all on a treat day. Use those weeklies and trust the plan and trust the process because they are there for you. And like we said, trial and error works with these plans, but give them time. We have a whole series. I don't know if they are on YouTube yet or if they're there at all, but you can find them on Spotify or Apple Music. Our whole series on the plans, on each individual
Oh
plan. We
yes.
have a week for like 2 plans each week, and we go in depth
Yeah, I think it was three
talking
weeks.
about 'em.
3 weeks in a row where we talked about all the plants and a breakdown and the
Mhm.
benefits, benefits to them. So feel free to take a look. I don't know if because we only started going to YouTube
Yeah, so you
a
might have to
couple months
find them on
ago.
Spotify or Apple Music, but it's an in-depth talking about each
Hmm.
plan. And so if you're confused on which plan or if you're like this plan's not working for me and you want to know about the others, we do have that out there
Hmm.
for you guys, but it's sometimes it just takes trial and error, but like we said, the plans are there to work. If it didn't work, nobody would be unhealthy.
Hmm.
They're there. I mean, we can attest that we've each lost over 100 pounds. The plans work. You just have to trust the plan and trust the process.
Hmm. And also be honest and consistent in everything that
Yes,
you do.
consistency, consistency, consistency. I'm gonna probably say that 20 times
Yeah,
tonight.
we can't say that enough. Jody
Mhm.
also mentioned on Instagram that she bought some fun shirts. She's a romance novel reader and she wears them to the gym and it helps her get motivated.
Cute clothes at the gym really does help get motivated.
Mm.
Like it really does.
Mm.
Find a thing that gets you motivated. Like if it's a cute cup, if it's a cute outfit, like just do it.
And the ones that have the fun words or sayings, people will notice that, and it's fun. People saying, "Hey, I like your shirt,"
Mhm.
and that gives you a little bit of motivation. That gives you kind of a pep, and you're up in your step, and might help you push a little farther. I know if somebody mentions that they like my shirt, I might go a little bit farther on the treadmill or do push myself a little bit harder in the strength training. So it's a lot of fun to wear fun shirts. Hey, Penny, nice to see
Hi.
you here.
And another thing, we kind of touched on this a couple weeks ago. Like we did a whole thing about documenting your progress.
Hmm.
But from the beginning on, document your progress, taking measurements, taking photos along the way, because when you feel like you're not going, and you're not getting anywhere. That will show that you
Mhm.
are getting your measurements, looking for those non-scale victories, trusting the process along the way. Looking for those things will show you that the process is working, because it will work. I promise. You just got to trust it. So take those measurements, get the pictures, the transformation pictures, the measurements, everything. I've seen people measure things like their heart rate. Their resting heart rate is
Mhm.
down, which is great.
Mhm.
If you get blood work done, like make sure you're keeping up with that kind of stuff so you know that you are making progress more than just on the scale. Because while the scale is great, it's not always going to move.
Yes, that's another thing, really good thing to point out that there are ways to see your success without the scale. The resting heart rate is a really, really big
Mhm.
one. Before this journey, I think my resting heart rate was probably in the high 80s and low 90s, which is kind of honestly pretty high. But that was at the peak of my unhealthiness before I really started getting into it. And now my resting heart rate, for the most part, is 60s, maybe low 70s sometimes. But that is a really good indicator of your health. I also recently got the Aura Ring, which does some really fun measurements, but it also estimates your cardiovascular age to see kind of your health rating
Mhm.
there. And actually, my cardiovascular age is now a year and a half younger than my actual age, which is pretty exciting. But it's pretty normal to be with plus or minus 5 years of your actual age when it comes to your cardiovascular age. But those types of things, the clothes you're wearing, how things fit on you. We're doing some cleaning and packing and stuff. Courtney found the pants that I wore to our wedding, which were size 50 or
I
bigger.
think they might have been a 52 or 54.
52 or 54, and I'm wearing 38s, 40s, 42s, depending on the size. Every single brand seems to make those things differently, so to make it more complicated to find out what you like. So personally, when I find a brand and the size I like, I just tend to stick with that. But
Yep.
it's a pretty big difference, and we keep that pair of pants even though I won't ever wear them again. It's nice to hold them up and compare to. I used to fit in these, and those were snug, and now I could fit like two of me in there practically. I mean, it's really exciting.
And Jody just mentioned that one of the plans episode is on YouTube, part one. Oh, good to know.
Yes.
So
Thanks
the
for checking.
the episodes talking about plans is on YouTube if you would rather watch it than listen to it.
Mhm.
If you do need to know about the plans.
Absolutely. So, and ask us if you have any questions or concerns. Also, there's a quiz on the Healthy website that you can do to help you find
Yes.
a good
And
plan.
one of our most asked questions is what plan we're on. We love the Better Balance plan. We've talked about it before. We switch between that and calories. If we are maintaining, which
Hmm.
we do during
The holiday
the
season.
holiday season, we switch to calories just because it's easier when you're maintaining, because you have a little bit more wiggle room there. But if we're not, we tend to stick to Better
Mhm.
Balance because it's just our absolute favorite.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, it's one of our, and if you go back to some of our previous episodes when we talk about the plan, there are so many benefits to all of them, and they it really just depends on your
mhm.
needs. Like the carb conscious one is really good for those that have blood sugar issues. So there's lots of different options, but for us, our favorite one is Better
Yes,
Balance.
but with that, like we mentioned before, trust the plan, give it some time. So yeah. But also another point is make some goals.
Hmm.
Make small goals, make big goals, like make everything in between. And that way you can see your progress as you are going.
Hmm.
Because sometimes I know we keep saying trust the process. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes you can trust the process, but feel like you're not seeing any progress. So making those little goals, even if it's just to lose 5 pounds. And then I also love the idea of rewarding yourself. You don't have to do a big reward. Like you can just say, I'm going to treat myself to a fancy coffee because I lost 20 pounds. Reward yourself for those goals, but
Or another cup.
or another cup, which
And your rewards don't always have to be food motivated either.
no,
They can be trips, they can be going to the movies, they can be a cup, they can be some. For me, sometimes it's getting a new roll of filament for my 3D printer. Those types of rewards are really good. We're really big on not using food.
mhm,
As a reward, especially as we're trying to teach our daughter a healthy relationship with food, we try not to let food
yes,
be a reward or a punishment either.
yes. But to me, that does not count as a fancy coffee because coffee is life. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But yes, make some goals so that you can see the progress as you're going, which will make it easier to trust the process when you can physically see the process where you are hitting those goals. And the goals don't always have to be weight related. It can be to lose 3 inches overall.
Mhm.
It can be
Clothes size
to a clothes size. It can be to fit into a certain dress. It can be, your resting heart rate to go down, whatever.
or fit on a roller coaster.
And also, going back to the whole plan thing, Peggy Sue posted the healthy app, the website where it takes you to all the different plan information as well, if you'd rather just read it out. Yeah.
Jody mentioned a recipe with hummus, sauce, and veggies. I love hummus. I don't think Courtney is a
I don't
huge
mind
hummus
it. It's
person.
not my favorite, but I will eat it.
I like hummus with some pita chips, but hummus is really good with
Mhm.
veggies too.
Yes. But also, our last point, which we have said multiple times, and we are just going to reiterate it again and again and again, consistency is key. When you don't see progress in the moment, trust the process. It is a long, hard process. We
Mhm.
have said this before. Getting healthy, losing weight, all the things, and it's not always about your weight. Just getting healthy in general is not easy. It's hard. It's a lifelong process. It's something that takes work, but consistency is key. You're never going to be motivated all the time.
Mhm.
Consistency is the absolute key, and trusting the process is key as well, because if you're not trusting the process, you're going to get so frustrated, you're going to get so irritated, you're just going to give up. Trust the process at all times, because you will see change, even if it takes you a lot longer than you think. And do not compare yourself to other people.
Everyone's journey is
Everyone's
different.
journey is different, and
Mhm.
do not do that. Just trust your own process, your own progress, your own process. Trust yourself, because it will be different for everybody.
Absolutely. We actually had a whole episode that the healthy is not a one size fits all. So definitely understand that your path is going to be different. My health journey is definitely different from Courtney's, even though we're in the same house and
Mhm.
we're on the same plan. But I'm 6'8" and she's not.
Yeah, I'm literally a whole foot shorter than him. So,
Yes. So every plan is different.
Linda said losing weight is not for sissies.
No.
That is correct. It is very hard. And that is something, it took me years and years and years to figure that out. Like, I expected it to be easy, and I would lose weight fast. Like, I would lose like 50 pounds and be like, way to go, Courtney. But then I'd plateau. I would stop.
And then
So then
gain
I
some
would
back.
stop trying,
Hmm.
because I expected it to be easy at all time. And when it stopped being easy, when I stopped losing, I was like, I'm done. It took me years. And this is the first time in our health journey, both of us,
Hmm.
that we've stuck to it, because we finally realized it takes consistency. It takes trusting the process. It takes realizing this is hard. It takes a lot of different things. And it sometimes it does take you years to realize that, and years of trial and error and trying to
Hmm.
figure things out. But at the end of the day, like we said, it all comes down to trusting the process, because it will eventually work if you
Hmm.
stick to it and stay consistent.
Absolutely, because we're 4.5 years into
Mhm.
our current
Probably
version.
5 now.
Yeah, close to 5 because our daughter's like 5.5. Oh, what's
She's a
that?
little older than that.
She'll be 6 this fall.
Oh.
But yes, and we've had our moments where we've kind of plateaued, where we
Mhm.
talked about this before, where 2 years we kind of stayed the same. We had kept gaining and losing the same 10 or 15 pounds. But the fact that we didn't gain all that weight back and then just give up is a really good
Mhm.
testament to our consistency and our dedication to making sure that we are in this for the long haul, because it is a lifelong journey.
Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, which we try to end all of our stuff with reminding you guys, you can do it.
Hmm.
And we are always here for you if you need accountability partners, if you need someone to talk to, if you are feeling frustrated. We don't mind talking you through that. We don't mind being your accountability buddy. We don't care if we have 100 of you asking us to be your accountability partner. We will always say yes, because nobody should do this alone, and you've got this.
Absolutely. And then Linda's on her current journey over 16 years and 75 pounds and still working towards the goal. Just the amount of time and effort you're putting into it,
Mhm.
and that shows how important your health is. And so that's amazing, Linda. So thank you so much
Yes.
for sharing that with us.
And with that, honestly, if you would have told me it would take me 6 years to lose 100 pounds, I would have laughed at you, because in my head, I was supposed to lose 100 pounds in a year. Now I am proud to say, in 5 years, I've lost 100 pounds. And I don't care that it took 5 years. And I don't care if it takes 5 years to lose another 20. Like, I'm still working towards this. And the fact that you've been on your health journey for 16 years is incredible. So that's amazing.
And I've always been kind of one to realize that sometimes the slower loss is the more is the
Mhm.
loss that will stick with you. You lose it real quick, it's easy to gain it right back. So if you kind of low and slow and like the tortoise and the hare, the winner was the tortoise. Now, if you go for the Bugs Bunny version, that tortoise cheated. They used different people, so
Mhm.
don't cheat.
That's true.
Yes. Now let's move on to real quick the recipe for the week. Let me pull this up on the screen, and here it is.
This is crockpot Mississippi chicken. You need 2 pounds of chicken breast, ounce, which is 1 packet of the how do you say that? Au juice gravy mix.
Ajou.
Au jus. 1 ounce, which is 1 packet of ranch dressing mix. A fourth a cup of butter. You can use more if you want, but that will add significant more amount of calories and significant amount more fat and bites. So keep that in mind. 5 peppers. Well, the pepperoncini. I cannot talk tonight.
It's a
Those
complicated
are
word.
optional though. If
Mhm.
you do not like peppers, you can keep those out and it will still taste very, very good. But you put the chicken in the bottom of the slow cooker and sprinkle the au jus, is that right?
Yes,
Au jus packet
close enough.
and the ranch dressing packet. Sprinkle that on top. Slice the butter into small pieces and place it evenly on top. This is going to melt down and kind of help with those seasonings create a sauce. And then you're gonna slice the peppers and add on top of the butter, which, like we said, that is optional. It will still taste fine without the peppers. Don't you worry.
I like peppers.
He likes peppers. I like it in something like this. It's really not that bad. Some people don't even slice the peppers, they just throw them in their whole, and that I would probably like better. It still gives the flavor, but I can pick the pepper out and hand it to him. Anyways, cover and cook on low for 6 to 8 hours. With this recipe, low and slow is better. Don't try to do it on high. Low and slow is better for this. Once cooked through, shred the chicken up. It should just fall apart. It's going to be delicious. And then put it back in the crock pot and mix with that butter seasoning, delicious sauceness. You can eat it by itself. You can eat it over rice. You can eat it like the picture here on a sandwich, however you want. But it is very filling, delicious. It's very low in carb for those of you that are on the keto plan. Very high in protein, almost 50 grams of protein in this.
But only
That's crazy.
seven carbs.
Yes, but only 7 carbs. It's between 4 and 9 bites. I tend to forget that the other plans have higher bites things. And so when I was looking at this, I was like, because we're on the Better Balance, which is only 4. It's like this isn't too bad in bites. So you can make it bigger servings if you're on those bites that have a little bit higher, or you can just eat the 8 or 9 bites and call it a day, plan your day around it. But yes, 354 calories, and like I said, almost 50 grams of protein. So
Absolutely.
delicious.
And you can substitute for a lower calorie butter that I can't believe is not butter.
Yes, you
Uh,
can. They also make like you said, that light butter, that's probably the same thing.
mhm,
Whipped butter, you get a little bit more
mhm.
like, yeah,
But just know, we've also used the spray butter that's 0 calories.
but there are technically
There
calories.
are calories, so just know that nothing really is truly calorie free.
Yeah.
So just try to account for that. And but you can make substitutions and still have some amazing this amazing meal.
Mhm.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us this week. We hope that you had a insightful and got some good tips from us. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to comment. If you have any other topics you'd like to talk
Yeah.
about, but we hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and we'll see you back here next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.